welcome to ReCall The Midwife. We are a fan podcast where we watch an episode of Call The Midwife and talk about it. Today, we are watching Series 11, Episode 5. My name's Alex.
I'm Becky.
I'm Jen. And a reminder that this week's episode deals with domestic violence and abuse, miscarriage and adoption. So if those are topics you would prefer to skip, we understand and hope you join us for the next one.
In this week's episode, Trixie is on district rounds. Gordon Packer has been discharged from hospital after an accident at work. He's being cared for by his wife Glenda, but all is not what it seems. When Nancy and Sister Frances teach class at the school, their daughter Deborah speaks up. Nurse Crane's life is changed when she has a win on the premium bonds. Lucille cares for Pamela Hislop, who is expecting her third child with her second husband, Terry. But while Pamela is in labour, Lucille suffers a miscarriage. Nurse Crane steps in to care for them both. After May is injured at the park on dangerous play equipment, Sheila arranges a Jamboree Jumble sale to raise funds for new equipment. And Trixie and Matthew grow closer, but when Trixie learns that her godmother has been diagnosed with cancer, she leaves Poplar to care for her. What is a Jamboree Jumble sale?
You guys, who knows? The 60s and 70s were a really wild time.
I thought Jamboree was something to do with, like, scouts.
That's what I thought.
The thing is, they love a novelty name item in this show. And, like, I think in this time period, you know, like, everything had to be, like, because think about old cookbooks, right? Like, food wasn't just, like, chicken with peas. It was, like, festival chicken with, like, you know, party pea appetite. You know what I mean? It's, like, people are just trying so hard to make life fun, I feel like. But wait, can I just say something really fast? This episode had me in a chokehold. And honestly, this season has been a little bit, I don't know, I could be going through something myself, which is why I'm saying this, but this season has been a little bit up and down for me. But this episode I feel was so strong.
Yeah.
I don't know why. This episode just really hit for me, like, in a big way.
I thought the acting in this episode was outstanding.
Yeah, and I just, like, so much was happening, and, like, it was just so intense, and it was foreshadowing, like, you know, it was, you know, it was a wild ride, you guys.
Should we talk about the Packers first?
Yes, but do we want to talk about the special thing that we wanted to talk about at the beginning?
Well, also, should we do trigger warnings?
Didn't I already do them?
No.
I said them at the beginning before Bex read her synopsis.
Did you? I'm going absolutely mad, guys. Ignore that.
Now who's not listening to
I was listening.
Well, then get your ears checked, ma'am.
Yeah. Don't understand. Are we talking about what I've done today, guys?
Yes, I think we should. At top of the show.
Guess who I spoke to today, guys?
Dr.
I
Turner.
spoke to Heidi Thomas and Dr. Turner today. That's not his real name.
Oh, by the way, not just Heidi Thomas, Madam Dame Royal OBE winner Heidi Thomas. You literally were in the room with royalty at this point. So
yeah.
Did he remember you?
No. To be fair, he would have done. I didn't do the because we needed to get home. I didn't do the whole queue up.
Do you think
thing.
it's because I wasn't with you?
Yeah. He looked like he knew me. So
I'm sure he did.
He
remembers every fan.
Yeah. Well, not everyone, just me. I went to a talk with those two today near me, and it was brilliant. It was really, really enjoyable because, you know, it was basically the same kind of thing that me and Bex went to when we did that episode on the Gloucester one. But
Which
it was
now
different.
was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago nearly.
Almost 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, but it was really, really good.
Why were they doing this though? Like, I thought they were promoting something last time.
So
but, like,
Chester Story House has a literary festival on at the moment.
Okay.
And this is part of like a history festival, so they kind of like slot it in with the literary festival and stuff.
Oh.
And I presume because they've got family up in Liverpool or whatever, they were like, yeah, 'cause it's only like half an hour away.
Ours was a history festival as well, wasn't it?
Yes. And it was really good, but it wasn't the same because they were asked different questions and stuff, and they had slides and stuff of the thing. I'll just do a really quick thing. They showed these prosthesis. They also showed how they did the whole thalidomide with baby Susan. They green screened her. Yeah, they did green screen. So she was wearing like a green jumpsuit, and then they kind of superimposed her head onto this little body they'd made.
Right.
But they also have babies now, so they can only use babies for 20 minutes. So they have
I've got a thalidomide story. Remind me after.
I will. So they can only use real babies for 20 minutes at a time, and they have to get licenses for them. So it's very hard because, especially in the world of filming and stuff, using a baby for 20 minutes, that's gone in like a flash. So they try and use identical twins, but even then, you'll notice some of the babies aren't the same because they use like just twins or so it's really hard. So they've now invested in a load of prosthetic babies, and I presume a lot of that was because of COVID as well.
Yeah.
But guess how much a prosthetic baby costs?
$5,000.
Times that by 3 and add to £17,000 for one prosthetic baby.
Gosh.
But they have to use special like surgical silicone, she called it, because then you can put makeup on them to make them coloured darker. Like they have different colour babies as well, but obviously you make them paler, make them look ill, make them look flush. They can do loads of different things. They look so realistic. So she said about that was very interesting.
They must have had a special one for, remember the preemie baby?
Yes.
For the mom that
Well,
was drug
she said about a
abused.
storyline at the moment. There's one that's literally series 15. You heard it here first, guys. There's a one they're building at the moment that's like tiny, and that costs loads of money, but it's like animatronic, so it's moving as well. But it just shows how far how far it's come. Just prosthesis and stuff like this, special effects. Since, because obviously, bearing in mind, it's been 15 years since they started.
Yes, absolutely. It's funny because my mom and I were watching the episode that we did the podcast for last week with the baby that born to the Jewish parents, and there was a scene where the dad was holding the baby, but like you couldn't really see the baby. It was just like a bundle of knit blanket in his arms, and then he passed it to the grandfather, and my mom just goes, "That's not the real baby." Like, right at that moment. Now, granted, that could have been a watermelon and we wouldn't have known because you didn't literally not see any of the baby, but then they did a close-up of the baby in his arms, and then obviously it was a real child.
But yeah, it's because they only have like 20 minutes. It's like ridiculous. And they used fruit juice for blood. And what else was there? She spoke about the prequel. And she said,
what'd she say? What'd she say?
Confirmed they are definitely, she showed this amazing photo that she'd found because she's doing a research at the moment for it. And also it's going to be out at the end of 2026. And she was saying they showed this underground tunnel in the Blitz, and it was a Salvation Army midwife with a load of women who'd obviously just had babies, and then they had a shelf of babies in this like little underground tunnel during the Blitz.
And that was real.
Yeah, that was a real photo. So that's like what she's doing loads of research around it. She also confirmed there's definitely going to be an episode on Sister Monica Jones, who's basically, I don't know if it's going to be a series or an episode on each or what, but she was saying Sister Monica Jones definitely, she did say she's not going to be young, but she's basically going to be running Nonata's house. She's going to be on a bike going around. Young Sister Julienne and young Sister Evangelina will be there as well.
Yeah. I wonder, it's too soon to pick. When will they film that?
This is going to be filmed in like less than a year.
I wonder, we'll have to do our research and see if we can figure out who they're going to cast as who.
I think they'll announce it. Yeah.
They'll announce it. They'll put it on like a Hollywood website or something.
So anyway, also this time I actually asked a question. So I tried to ask the question last time.
I'm so glad I wasn't there.
I didn't ask it when Bex was there because she was willing me not to. I think that's what happened in the ether. She was like, please don't ask. But this time they didn't have a microphone, so I couldn't be like, oh, hi, it's Alex from ReCall The Midwife. So I just had to shout my question out. And it was also a bit annoying because someone else, they thought they were asking them. So they were definitely asking me. Everyone around me confirmed. But they asked it at the same time, so then it was just awkward. But anyway, we both got to ask a question. And I asked her who her favourite midwife was. And she said she can't decide. She loves them all. And she did say she did with such passion about every single character she's ever done, every single storyline. And apparently she cries a lot when she does the writing. Even when she's got an idea. Does. So I do believe that she does care about every single character she writes about because they are so brilliant. Also, we spoke about the fact that Sister Veronica, I feel like Sister Veronica was supposed to come in and be a bit annoying at first, but they've kind of softened her character as time's gone on. And I actually said that on the way there. Anyway, she confirmed it in the actual talk.
Wait a minute, which one's Sister Veronica again?
The health visitor who has the moped, the new one.
Oh, brand new, like the newest one to this season.
Well, no. She's like 3 series now.
She's like an older nun.
Why do I have no idea who this is? Oh my
Sister
God.
Veronica. She's anyway.
I'll figure it out. Anyway,
it was really, really good. I asked a question. Becky was delighted she wasn't there, and it was brilliant.
Oh, I wish I could have gone.
We just need to talk about this. Alex went with somebody. Oh, hang on. Let me just show Jen a picture of Sister Veronica.
Oh, that's Sister Veronica. Oh, God. Yes, of course. Jeez. Okay, yes. I know who she is.
Alex went to this talk with somebody who had no idea that she does a podcast.
And then found out.
Yeah.
When did she find out?
I did tell her on the way.
Was she like?
What? Yeah. No, she was just very lovely about it, but also quite excited, but not too. Like, she's just a very nice person.
She was very nonchalant.
Yeah. No, but not in a nasty way. Like, she just takes everything.
She's got more chill than us.
Yeah. But she was very also encouraging me, making me do it. She was like, yeah, you need to say.
Oh, so not like me.
So not, she was on my side.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you just like brushed elbows with our like royalty, basically.
I did. It was outstanding. Right. Okay. Should we talk about this episode?
Let's.
Tell them they need to do one of those in America because it's I feel like American fans get cheated.
Yeah. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was outstanding. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure it was amazing. I'm jealous I didn't get to go. It sounds really, really
Now,
cool.
do you know what I liked about the Packers storyline? The
Go
fact
on.
that it was like interwoven with the Sister Francis and Nancy storyline.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
clever. Oh, also,
mm.
really quick, she also said she tries to do two storylines an episode and one's always a birth. Two can be births, but one has to always be a birth.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
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 These are just things that just,
Well, we've even talked about it before. There's usually like an A storyline and then a B
yeah.
storyline,
Yeah.
and you know, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think the Packers storyline was like the key storyline in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, I feel bad. I really thought that male teacher was going to be a bad guy, and he turned out to be so nice.
He did.
I thought he was
Show
going to be like
you
a
that.
real nefarious character.
See,
Like,
I didn't. I thought he was going to be really ineffectual and rubbish, and he wasn't. So we both thought he was going to be bad, but for different
oh,
reasons.
yeah, like when what's the daughter's name? Is it like
Deborah.
Deborah.
well, yeah, when Deborah walks in and she's like, and like all the chairs are on the desk, but he's like writing out on the chalkboard, and he says, "Oh, Deborah, like, how are you?" or something like that, and then she says, I was just like, "Oh no, what is he gonna do to this little girl?" He didn't do anything. He was really helpful. It was
Yeah,
really
he was very
nice.
nice.
He was so
Also,
good.
he instigated the talk about periods because
I know.
But
I
I like
didn't
the
know if
way
that
he
was him
asked.
just
He
being
was
a
like,
creep either.
they're starting at 10 and 11. Like, is
Is that
something wrong?
normal? Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, why would a male teacher at age 25 or something know that? Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't. So I'm glad
no.
he was asking.
Oh, I'm glad he was asking too. But again, I was like, again, it was for me, and this is clearly like a me problem. But I just was like, why? Like, I mean, I don't know. I was like, how is he so aware of like little girls' periods? But it made sense, and he was a very good man. So like, I mean, obviously, I
And
rescind
also, if
my.
he's in their class, if they're in his class, do you know what I mean?
But
Like,
also he did say that a girl bled through a PE kit.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I'm just thinking of like the teachers I had growing up, and like I just never. I guess the idea. I don't know. I just never thought that a male teacher would like know about any of that type of stuff. But
Well, they've got to, don't they?
what do you mean?
Well, they've got to teach it.
Oh
Maybe
my
not in the
God.
60s.
not in
In
the 60s.
America, when I was growing up, we had a gym teacher teaching our health class or whatever it was. And when I tell you this man, I'm sure he knew all about the birds and the bees, but he was not,
Well,
it
have
was not a good
have I said
teacher.
on the pod before I started my period at primary school,
Oh, you
Can't
did?
imagine.
Oh,
and
wow.
everyone was so jealous of me.
Oh God. Can you imagine being jealous of, oh my God.
How
I was
Yeah.
not.
how
I wouldn't have been jealous.
And then one of my friends just wore a red skirt all the time, just in case she started her period.
Oh gosh.
That'd be funny.
Was
That's
it?
really weird, you guys.
I'll tell you what though, if I'd had an actual nurse teaching our health class when I was growing up, it would have been so much better than what I actually had. Like
I thought that Sister Francis and Nancy did an amazing job. They were so
they did.
approachable. They
They
were
did.
and also I thought the idea was genius. Although, can I just say, someone asked Sister Francis about taking paracetamol, and she was like, "Oh, I prefer paracetamol." I thought, you take bloody pethidine, mate. I saw you.
I have to say about this, there was no mention. She said she prefers paracetamol to aspirin. There was no mention of crippling period pains.
I mean, you probably don't want to scare them, to be honest.
Well, and
No,
I
but
think most girls are not gonna have, like that's something you talk with a doctor once you realize that's your problem. You know what I mean? Like, but
But I really liked that they were like, "Oh, well, I thought it was genius the way they were like, "Oh, we'll read your questions tonight, and when we'll come back with answers tomorrow." I thought that was amazing. I
that
thought that
was
was
very
so
good.
brilliant.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I really liked how Sister Hilda w said to them, because they were like, "Well, I don't really want to teach this class," and she was like, "Yeah, I know, but you're so much closer in age to them. I think they're gonna feel a lot more comfortable with you." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, that was really spot
They were a
on to
brilliant
me."
team. I
Yeah.
loved them two together. Also, I really loved the question, "Do dogs go to heaven?" And they were absolutely lolling, which I can totally see. And then
I love
a mood was
the
cooled.
I love the one about like, what happens to the eggshells like after you get pregnant when the sperm breaks an egg. And it's like that just is so cute. I mean, I just picturing like these little girls thinking that they're like a chicken, with like little eggs inside of
I know,
us.
but if you say egg, do you know what I mean? What will you
Oh,
think?
it made
Yeah.
complete sense. It made complete sense, but it was just so sweet because it's like one of those kind of like Amelia Bedelia things where you take something so literally and you don't really realize that, someone is not doesn't have a frame of reference for what you're talking
Yeah.
about. So, yeah.
So then the
Oh.
question, how do you tell the NSPCC was there, which absolutely killed the mood because they were having a right lols fest.
Oh, yeah.
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 But obviously the child didn't put their name on it.
Well,
And
just tell the folks, what does NSPCC stand for? Because I got what the gist was, but we don't, that's a different term over
The
here.
National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. So over here we have usually social service calls it Child Protective Services,
Well, this
which
is actually a
similar.
charity. So
Yeah.
this is a charity that like, they have like a phone line where you can ring up
Oh, okay. So different. Okay.
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
notify them and stuff. So it's been like a big thing. So then they were talking about the fact that child cruelty doesn't just show as bruises. So they left the box because basically it was a really clever way they did about it because they went in and answered all the questions the next day because that's important too. But then they said, look, we've left the box again on your teacher's desk because there's some questions we can't answer. But if you do want to put it again, but maybe put your names or even just your initials, just so we can, help you, basically.
Yeah.
And then
When you could see little Deborah just like looking, being like, oh, like,
yeah. And then she
yeah.
came in and spoke to the teacher that I thought was going to be ineffectual and the one you thought was going to be abusive.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And he was so sweet. He was really nice. Yeah. He
yeah.
did exactly the right thing. Yeah.
So we should set the scene because Gordon Pack has been discharged from hospital. Well, Glenda, his wife, has basically hurried him home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we
Glenda
don't
was
know this at
already
the time. We think when we first meet them that he's just wanting to get home into his comfy bed.
Yeah. So
but
he fell from a crane and is now paralyzed. Horrendous.
mm-hmm.
Trixie is disgusted because he's not got a proper hospital bed. He's not got well, he does have a caster, but is it that he's not been
He doesn't have physio. He doesn't have like someone to help him with the wheelchair and everything. They're
Normally they
not
get them
bathing
to a
him
certain
properly.
stage before they
Yeah.
left, and they were going to they wanted to
So
send
he's
him
got
to a physio place in the country to kind of get himself up to speed on
a
everything.
bit more
Well,
independent.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
he didn't even finish the physio that he was supposed to get in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because she checked him out too early. So she's like, oh, he could have been much better along with all of this to be rehabilitated if you'd actually like left him in. And she was like, well, anyway, there was something off with her within 5 minutes of her being in the house. Like,
Yeah, but there was. But I thought it was going to be like an OCD thing because she was all about cleanliness and stuff, wasn't she?
I
And
thought she was
also,
just being like proud of,
I
like
just
she's
thought
just
there
like
was
too proud.
something a bit menacing about her.
There was.
yeah, I didn't realize at first at all.
Something seemed
Also,
off with her.
Trixie was so pregnant. Kate,
Oh my God, they were hiding her behind
Yeah.
everything this time. Yeah.
Kate, records in front of her stomach. At one point, a cushion in front of her stomach when she's with Matthew, which we'll get onto.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about that. Well, when she's like kneeling down next to like Gordon or whatever, and she's talking about his catheter, it's just like, why are you just kneeling on the floor? And it's like basically because they couldn't like they only filmed her from like the belt up the whole time because like that's as far as it could go. Yeah, you could tell she's really starting to show at this point.
Gordon was basically saying he didn't want to go in the chair, and I thought it was because he was being proud. And then Glenda was all like, I thought she didn't realize because I wrote a note here like, oh, it was her idea of him leaving hospital, but she didn't realize she'd bitten off more than she could chew. Do you know what I mean? That's what I thought had happened. I thought she was kind of not coping. And then we meet Deborah, age 11, who she was basically doing all the shopping and she was like, oh, I've got her ready to be, house proud and getting her to run the house.
No, she said housebroken, which seemed like kind of a bit at the time, but it didn't set off like crazy alarm bells because Trixie's like, oh ha ha ha, like, but then you're like, oh God, oh no, this poor girl, ugh,
yeah. Now, bearing in mind, Trixie doesn't know. Trixie's just in with the Packers. She doesn't know anything that's going on with Deborah's side because bearing in mind this hasn't happened yet, to be fair. And Trixie's basically suggesting social workers because you can get help, you can get home help if you insist on being at home. We can get you a bed, as Beck said, and we can get you social workers. We can get you home help to come and help. But Glenda's very like against it.
And now, I mean, then we figure out really why, because she doesn't want anyone at home looking at what's going on.
Yes. So basically, it all comes to a head with Trixie when he has, basically, she takes his shirt off because she's saying there's something wrong with his back or whatever. And then she finds...
His shirt isn't as fresh as it ought to be.
And he couldn't really clean himself after he pooped in the night. Sorry to say it that crude, but basically.
Yeah. So Trixie's like, he's got a really hurt back, and Trixie's like, this is not good enough. And he winces. And she's like, oh no, I didn't mean you. And at this point, she's still not realizing that the wife is being abusive.
She never realizes. I mean, no shade to Trixie, but she doesn't ever put it together. They have to like literally tell her.
It's not the norm, is it?
Oh, no, I don't think there's anything wrong that she didn't realize, but it like she never gets it. Like they have to like spell it out when she comes back into the.
So then Trixie goes to the council to give them help. right?
And she thinks that those marks on his back are because of neglect, because he doesn't have the right kind of care at home. And then she's like, am I going to tell the Gazette, or are you going to get me the head of the blah, blah, blah? And then Lee's like, oh my God. And so she's all in a tiz about that. And then,
but then she goes back to Nana's house where Sister Hilda and Dr. Turner are looking into the medical history of the kids, David and Deborah.
Yeah.
And Sister Hilda was asking Deborah about what's going on and stuff. And she was basically saying that her mum disciplines them with a dog lead. And so they're going to have to speak to the police.
I know, they don't even have a dog.
Yeah, that's when the dad said we don't even have a dog. I was just like, oh my God.
Well, no. That part is when they actually go to the house to confront. Yeah. But before that is when Dr. Turner and Sister Hilda are like saying like, oh, the kids had this, the kids had that, but we never thought anything of it because, you know, kids fall down and get bonks and blah blah blah, and it always seemed like they were fine. Otherwise, they came in with like bruises and different things. And then
Glenda was very good at hiding her. Yeah, Glenda was very good at hiding her crazy, because when the police came round, oh my God, I wrote here, Glenda is unhinged. What brilliant acting though. She was amazing.
She was psycho.
She was sinister. She was absolutely terrifying. I thought that was amazing and amazing acting. And that's when Gordon comes out and he's like, oh, a dog lead, and Gordon's like, and we haven't got a dog. And that's when it was all like, oh my God, like, because she picked it up basically to threaten David, didn't she? And but then the other bit, when she starts having a go at Gordon, saying that his mum was slow, and that
she says,
you were nothing without me. Like, I taught you everything. I gave you everything. You were just
he couldn't even eat. He couldn't even eat with a knife and fork. And he's like, my mother was educationally subnormal. Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, you kind of wonder like what he was going through before they even had kids and stuff. And then like and it really made me sad because I thought, oh, this is the exact same story we've seen in other episodes of the show where there's an abusive spouse and then a partner who's taking the abuse, and then unfortunately the children are also being abused, except this time it's just a wife instead of a husband, which is, I mean, sadly the norm is the other way. So, you know, like I had these moments where I was like, what's, you know, because you could tell he feels guilty because he knows what's going on with those kids, but then he's just finally in a position where he's too vulnerable to be able to not be the victim of it in a really, really bad way himself, it just was sad, man.
But the police interview, when they went to the actual police station, she was like, oh, there's scum on this. And she was like, he'll change his story. It'll never make it to court. She was so convinced. And she was like, love runs deep in our house. It was so sinister.
Oh God. She just got more evil by the moment in all of that. Yeah.
Again, I was loving it. I thought she'd be bloody brilliant in a horror film.
She was scary. Her face was like really scary.
So then also I'll touch on this 2 seconds, but then we'll go back to it later. But also this storyline helped Trixie kind of open up to Matthew about her mistreatment as a child, because she recognised the signs. And she said, like, I should have recognised them, kind of thing. But that was also her opening up to Matthew a bit more. We'll talk about her opening up to Matthew later on. Do you know what else? Dr. Tim. Dr. Tim was here, guys, and he helped Mr. Packer get into the doctor's surgery.
Wait, I have to talk about this. How did Tim get him up those iron stairs?
Absolutely.
Did you notice they never, ever once showed the actual full shot? They just showed the bottom of the wheels going up. That must have had no one in it.
There's no way that Tim and not the two of them together. And
even if he did it, I couldn't have watched it because.
And how's he going to get him down? By the way,
it just made no sense.
Oh, it killed me.
I mean, also, especially if Dr. Turner does home visits, for God's sake.
That's the back way in. Why? What was wrong with the front entrance?
Well, is it just me?
They don't have that set anymore.
I've always pictured the front entrance as like just 2 shallow steps up, and then the back for some reason is like this long staircase. Like the front of the doctor's clinic and maternity home I thought it was just basically like almost on grade. Why would you bring the man up the back? That didn't make sense to me at all.
It made no sense.
I just couldn't with that.
I'm just glad he didn't get hurt. I thought it was going to be like the storyline where they dropped him and he fell forward, but it wasn't, so that's fine. But anyway, what I really loved was Gordon Packer is basically resolved. He's resolute that he is not taking it back. He is going to court because he hates the word, but he wants to go for custody, and it'll help him. And David and Debbie aren't going anywhere. He's open to all help. He wants to help himself. He wants to get any help he can into the house to make sure that they don't ever have to have her back. And I just loved that because I thought, yes, please.
And she ends up at a hostel for women, which I thought, like, typically that would be for women who were escaping abusive situations, but actually she's the abuser in this case.
I didn't get why they didn't put her in jail, in all honesty. That just didn't make sense to me. I didn't get that.
Well, maybe she will be, but they've got to go to trial.
Yeah. Yeah,
because he
she
hadn't
can't go
actually
home.
decided
Yeah.
if he was going to press charges yet. So
Maybe she's like on bail as well. You know what I mean? Maybe
yeah,
it's like one of those type of things. Yeah. Yeah. But that was a sad storyline. I felt like, well, we already kind of said it all. I just really felt, yeah, it just really broke my heart.
I mean, it was
Like,
one of another sad storyline. Should we talk about Cyril and Lucille?
oh.
Well, there it's
No, 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 wait. Can we talk about the other pregnant lady with the second husband first, and then we talk about Lucille and Trixie? Is that
Okay.
okay?
Should we talk about Mrs. Heslop?
I love Mrs. Hislop. Hislop.
I
Oh, I
liked
thought it was
her and her
Heslop.
husband a lot. I thought this was so sweet.
Hislop.
Terry, I thought Terry was quite attractive, ladies and gents.
I love
Yeah.
Terry. He was such a sweet.
Also, do you know what I'd love? To be married to a plasterer.
No, I'd love to be married to someone in a trade.
Oh.
Honestly, for all of our teenage listeners, find yourself someone who's in a trade.
I mean,
Yeah.
Bex, you still could. So could you, Jen.
It's
Yeah,
my goal. It's my
I mean,
goal.
maybe
I
I'll go
need
into a trade myself. But
Yeah, but also,
honestly,
if you marry one, I can use them as well.
yeah, honestly, it's
the
so
world
handy.
the world needs more useful men. Let me just be
Yeah.
clear on that part.
I mean, my husband's useful because he's a graphic designer, so we've just entered a scarecrow competition. We came second, robbed. Anyway, we weren't. The winner was very, very good.
No, you were robbed.
But he did all signs. We did status quo, like status quo. It was brilliant.
And the scarecrows actually looks like status quo.
Yeah, Francis Rossi and
I
Rick Parfitt.
I'm gonna take your word for it. I don't know what they look like, so.
They were at Live Aid.
So
Oh.
Pamela has retrained, gone tonight. Pamela's first husband left her.
Yeah, two
She's
kids.
got 2 kids. She retrained. She was working in a factory, but factory work doesn't mix with shift work, doesn't mix with babies, which immediately unsettled Lucille because Lucille's thinking, ugh.
Yeah.
So she went to
Mm.
night school. She retrained as a bookkeeper. That's where she met Terry, the sweetest man in the world.
Who was doing
Well,
his
because
his accounts on the back of a fag packet.
yeah, he came to her for her services, and then they got to chatting, and then she was like, "Your business is a mess, but not any other part of you, Terry. Like, let's get it going." I
He
love
was
it.
lovely. He was lovely. And I just loved it. Although what I didn't love was when she went, so he wanted to go and watch the birth with her, which was really sweet. And that was a bit of a controversial thing for Nurse Crane, but she was like, oh, okay.
Nurse Crane still can't get used to it.
Yeah. So
Mm.
it was actually Lucille who was with her. And she had a loaded rectum. Blech.
Oh,
And I have
I'm
to say,
sorry.
Terry
She was
was
gonna.
very good about loaded rectum.
Yeah, but then Lucille sent him away because his wife was really upset. She was like, go and sit at reception. He was like,
Do
oh,
you
okay.
do you think she had to do a poo before she gave birth?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
because she
loaded
gave
rectum.
her a
Oh.
suppository.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I was like, I think she's gonna poop herself while she's
Yeah,
having
because
a
did you not
baby.
see that scene where Lucille went out of the room with a bowl with a
Oh no, I didn't see that, but that makes sense.
I
Okay, I
assumed that
thought.
was the contents of a loaded rectum.
You know what I thought I really loved her for though? She was so real when he says something like, "Do you want blah blah blah" or whatever, and she's like, "No, childbirth is horrible and disgusting. Like get used to it or whatever." And I was like, honestly, that's the realest thing anybody said on the show in a while.
Yeah.
Like,
But she was also like, it's long as well. Like, it's not just popping
yeah,
in your schedule, Terry.
I know. She's like, if you're bored, you can leave, okay? Like
She
I was
was
like,
so mean to him, but also then she was like, I need to not ruin this for him.
they
Like,
were
I just
such a
love those
cute
two as a
couple.
couple.
Yeah, he was really into that baby too, in like the sweetest way. He was like, just you could tell like if he was if he was a current life dad, he would be like girl dad shirt, and he would have like dad life shirt, and like I mean, he just was so into the whole like I'm a dad thing. It was very very cute and very sweet way.
And I loved afterwards when he was just sat looking at the baby.
Oh, and also like God bless her because they called her a geriatric pregnancy. I really wish they had said how old she was because I was like, she's probably like 30, honestly.
I'm
She
guessing
was
about
not old at all.
33.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought she still looked young, to be honest with you, but yeah.
Do you know, just really quick, my friend I went with today, she told me that she's one of four, right? Her and her brother were born 2 years apart, everything great in life. And then an accidental pregnancy when she was 11, her brother was 13. They had twins.
How old?
And mum
Oh my
was
God. So she
and
has
mum was
twins
like
that are.
38. Yeah, she's got like 29-year-old sisters who are twins.
Oh my word.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. That's wild.
isn't
Good
it?
for the mom. Yeah, good in for the
Yeah,
parents. To think you're
So,
done and then have two more. Oof.
yeah.
So
so
anyways, they were oh sorry, Bex, go ahead.
Well, before we talk about Lucille, I think we need to set the scene about Cyril and Lucille. Because Cyril's obviously feeling the pressure of providing for his family, his grown family.
Well, he also did give her a cup of tea in the morning. Jen, did you love that? That she
Oh
had a
my
cup of tea
God.
and
I
said,
mean, my love for this man is just growing all the time. Just growing
Wait,
all the time.
I've made a note for Jen. At one point they have an argument and Cyril storms out, and then they play moody music. You don't have to say you love me. And then Cyril's like walking all moody in the streets of Poplar, and I was like, Jen must be loving this.
Oh, his story, their storyline this week was that it felt so, the last couple of weeks with them when they are really talking about the real life struggles they're going through, the real situations that people in their situation face, how they're having like similar but different experiences of it, how they're processing it differently. I'm just so here for it. I mean, obviously I love Cyril so much, but
no. I'm gonna have to absolutely. He really annoyed me.
What? Why?
So, right, he's all open about his car. Now, don't get me wrong. I realise it must be so bloody hard, rejection after rejection, right? But then, this really annoyed me. So he had his interview and everything. That's great, right? I'm not annoyed about that. That's brilliant, right? But then Lucille saying that she wanted to carry on with her career because she's done a lot of training, traveled a long time to go here. She's moved continents to get to do this career. So she doesn't want to carry on as a midwife. She wants to train as a health visitor, which I think is a brilliant idea. Right. I thought he just dismissed it just because he hadn't heard about his jobs or whatever. He kind of just dismissed what she wanted here, saying, "Oh, you didn't speak to me about it." But she was speaking to him about it then. That annoyed me. I thought that was very archaic of him. And then he basically had this big tantrum and then he stormed out. And I'm a bit like, you don't leave your pregnant wife who's upset in an argument to then go and storm around to Dusty Springfield and get shouted by the police to move. Like, don't get me wrong, that was really annoying as well. But it just, I do have to say, actually, when the police were really rude to him, he did really well to keep his head, because I thought at the first he's gonna hit the police or something. Do you know what I mean? Just because of the attitude the police had.
But that's the thing about Cyril. He's just he's that's just not him though. I mean, like I mean, the fact that he got as upset as he did. See, I actually didn't have the same feeling about that argument. I felt
surprised.
I know. But no, but I felt like it was a lot more fair, and actually I thought it was a really interesting moment of foreshadowing for the show, because I mean, the line that he says about like, well, you're just thinking about what you want to do like on your own, like you're not thinking about us as a couple and talking about these things, like you're making these decisions about what you want to do and then just telling me. And to me that was a sign of what's to come.
See, no, I don't agree. I feel like she's thinking what's working for them when they're trying to save up together. So she's like, I can help with the baby, but also carry on with my career. I think that was selfish of him to not think about the fact that she'd want to carry on her career. That really annoyed me.
Are you not? You're thinking about it in the context of what decade are we in?
2025.
Nowadays, you're thinking of it in modern day life. Whereas in the 60s, really, women would get pregnant and then stop working.
Yeah, but at the same time, not everyone did, because Chummy didn't. Chummy went back to her career. And also, it's a big career. And she's right. She's moved continents to train for this. It's a calling for her being a nurse. She was a librarian before. She's retrained to do this career that she really wanted to do and love. And she's trying to think of ways they can work that around the family and help her, because it's not cheap to live in London or whatever. They're talking about the fact they're trying to save for something. So instead of her being like, I'm just not going to work and put it all on you, she's actually come up with a solution to make it easier for them as a family. And he's kicking off.
Well, okay. Just it's not about the fact that she wants to work. I don't think he has an issue with her working after she has a baby. I think he has an issue with her not coming to him and saying, okay, listen, like the baby is coming, like I'm trying to think about like how our family is going to look and how it's going to operate after this is over. Like I would like to continue to work. Like I want to have, these are some ideas I have. Like, what do you think?
Surely that is the thing. She's not signed up for a course already. She's not started the course. She's talking to him about the course. She's just thought about it and says, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, but let's be real.
She's got her own concerns, because when she's talking to Pamela Hislop and she says like shifts and babies don't work, like you can see the worry on Lucille. So actually Lucille isn't going to Cyril. She isn't talking to him. She's not sharing her worries.
Well, I still don't agree. I think this is her talking to him about it. But listen, this is proof that he was out unreasonable, is because as soon as he found out he got the bloody job, he's like, oh God, gets flowers, because he's like, oh, I need to apologize. So he was unreasonable by storming off and being all brutish about it. Like, I think that was her talking to him. She hadn't decided a thing. But I think sometimes as well, I feel like you need to have a thought in your head instead of being like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. Sometimes it's more constructive to kind of have an idea of a plan before you go and speak to someone.
Yeah, I don't know. I to me it was to me I felt like the line that like really validated his side of it was when he said like I feel like you think I can't provide for this family and she was like, well, I don't expect you to. And that to
Yeah.
me I felt like I know, but
I think that was a dagger to Cyril's heart.
that was a hard that was
Yeah, but
I don't think that was
I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't expect you to. Like we're together. Why
But
is it
it's
all on you?
60s.
I know, but
Well,
the
she's
thing
a
is
modern woman.
but sometimes
67 as well. Nearly 1970.
the thing is, like, to me, him buying her flowers is a sign of being like, oh, my wife is pregnant. She's got a lot on her mind. Like, I've taken some time to cool off. Like, I need to make it right. And I feel like that was something you do, like, because that's what you do. And I feel like her comment to him was something that was, even though the way that she said it wasn't maybe technically wrong, that to me felt very like damaging to his ego. And I didn't feel like that was very fair, honestly, because I mean men do want to be providers, and especially in this generation, in this time, like he's talked a lot about the fact that he has a lot of really complicated feelings about the fact that he hasn't had a great job in this country and how he really wants to like be a professional, and like that's heavy on his mind, so she should have thought about that a little bit more too.
I don't really agree. I think we're just gonna have to agree to disagree on this because I just
Yeah, I
feel
think
like
that's
I
right.
really feel like Cyril was out of order. I don't mean like I think it was a bit misogynistic if I'm honest. And you're like, oh, that's the 60s, but I don't care. I feel
No,
like
I don't
Lucille.
I don't think it I don't know.
I
I
don't think
don't
she was unreasonable in trying to have a plan in her head that she hadn't actually done anything about to then speak to him. I don't think that was unreasonable at all. I think he was annoyed about his job situation. Then once he got the confirmation that he got the job, everything was fine, and that pissed me off.
She
Okay,
should
I
have
don't
been
think
a bit
that's what
more
the way it was, but
understanding of his situation.
She has been, but she's trying to sort
I
it.
only said
no,
that.
no.
I only said that to provoke you.
The thing is, we all know what Lucille is like, and it's not like she's just like, "Oh, Cyril, like I just was thinking of this idea, and like, I don't know," and then he was like, "No, absolutely not! Like, how dare you!" Like, I mean, she's like,
No, I think she was
I'm not
earnest. I
for
do think
that.
she was
Like,
earnest in this respect. I do. I think you're judging her on future.
I I'm not just judging her on future. I'm judging her on the situation, and I'm judging her on where she's at right now. And the thing is, Lucille is a rigid person. She is a very like, this is the way I want to do things. Like, this is how I present things. Like, even just like, remember what, like a couple weeks ago, and she was like, well, I always have tights if Nurse Corrigan needs them, and she knows that. And then she was like critical of Trixie, like when they were giving up. She was like, well, you have to give us cigarettes for Lent and everything. I mean, like Lucille is not just like a chill person. Like she's got, like she almost dumped Cyril because she thought he smoked weed one time when they went on their first date, and she didn't even ask any follow-up
Absolutely
questions. Like,
justified.
I'm not here for that narrative that like, he's like misogynistic and terrible, and
He is.
she was just trying to be
That's
whatever.
it.
Like,
I'm cancelling him.
cancellations
No,
don't
I
matter.
do have to say it's very unreasonable. It was unreasonable, yes, but it's very unusual that I think Cyril's in the wrong, and I did think this time in this argument that he was. Anyway, that's by the by. Poor Lucille. So we go back to the birth of Mrs. Heslop.
Oh yeah,
Realizes she goes to the toilet during this birth,
and
she
you know
realizes she's
something's
bleeding.
going to happen because we don't need to see Lucille sat on the toilet wiping.
Yeah. Well, we did see it. And
Yeah.
what was really awful was it must be absolutely, I just can't even imagine literally being at a birth where you're losing your baby. It must be absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
And do you know what as well, though? I will say this about Lucille, as much as, yes, she can be a bit much and a bit prim and all this. She cares because she was worrying about Mrs. Heslop all while she was miscarrying. She was keep making Nurse Crane check that her blood pressure wasn't up and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think the fact that she could even function, I wouldn't be able to. And Nurse Crane frying, that broke me, that scene where Nurse Crane was crying while Lucille was on the toilet miscarrying. It was so dark.
I just thought Nurse Crane pull it together.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it wasn't about Nurse Crane. Save your tears for later. You've got 2 patients to care for. You can't be snivelling at the door.
God. I mean, I will say this is very on brand for Bex.
The Bex we
when
know
she went
love,
and got
yes,
the metal kidney dish and she was having a cry. Oh,
I felt
Yeah,
bad.
now I will give you that. When she like had the metal receiver, as she called it, and then she had that in one hand and then she glanced down at the crib, I thought that was poignant.
yeah. And she was
But
on her own then, so
still-
do you allow that?
Well, it's still not about you, Nurse Crane.
Oh my God.
Even in that moment, oh my goodness. I will say I had a moment when she was sat by the door when Lucille was in there and she was like already starting to break down and cry and I thought, like I got that she was sympathetic, but I felt like that was a very intense reaction for her to have and I was kind of like this feels really really intense for her. Like I mean I know they're friends and everything, but
I do know what you mean. I do know
I
what you
felt
mean.
it felt a little bit
Yeah,
outsized for like what
I'd be
it
trying
was.
to
But then
kind of control my face and my emotions to make sure that you were okay. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And then when she went to go get that like receiving tray or whatever, I kind of started to think like, well, why is she having this reaction? Like this just seems like a lot. And my inner thought was that this was a transference of some like grief that she still has about Barbara.
Yeah.
And because she's
We'll
gotten
go
close
with
to
that.
Lucille, like when like I feel like she has a tender spot when it comes to like, her friends and like, her friends like losing not losing things, but
Yeah.
like,
And she was so
suffering and
excited
stuff.
though. She was excited when she found out she was pregnant. So she calls an ambulance and she says, you're going to have a D&C at the hospital. And poor
Yeah.
Lucille had to stay in the maternity home hearing babies
Oh,
crying.
yeah.
I
But then
did feel
that's
bad.
nothing.
I felt
That
bad, yeah.
does happen. So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
thought, yeah.
I mean, as we know, Heidi Thomas is very fastidious with stuff. So we know things like that do, and they still do happen. And it's just, ugh.
Mm.
And then when Lucille
It,
wakes up and Cyril was there and he was amazing as per. He was back to his normal Cyril. I wasn't gonna, be horrible to him. And she was there, she was basically blaming herself, saying she's got training with all the friends that she could have like prevented it. And Cyril was so like the words he chose were so lovely, basically saying that we don't get to choose. We are as human and helpless as everyone else. And nothing matters more than you. Do you hear me? And it was just, oh,
and also it broke my heart when she just said she thought she'd be better at it because it doesn't matter how good you are. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
just,
Well, it's not something you can be good or bad
no,
at. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's
Exactly,
not like
exactly.
that. Yeah, it's
And
just
she'll
what your
know
body
that.
is doing.
But in a nurse head, she'll know that. But this is affecting her and her life, and it's very emotional.
Mm,
It was
yeah.
really sad.
Yeah. It was really sad. It was really sad. And you never know how something like that is going to hit you. I mean, no one can
No,
predict what the loss feels like for each person. It's very unique to them. So,
yeah.
yeah. It was very sad.
Can we just go on really quick because there's so many storylines and we've gone on a bit today about my thing where I went. Nurse Crane's other reaction this week.
another overreaction from, I love Nurse Crane, don't get me wrong.
I love
But
Nurse Crane, but today, what?
She was on me. You know what? I feel like Nurse Crane was acting in this episode the way I felt all week, which is just absolutely like a maniac that like I don't even know who I am or what I'm doing anymore. I'm just like and then I'm like raging about something like a minute later, and then I'm like and then I'm like a maniacal laugh. It's just like, oh my God, I feel like I've been just like put me out to pasture
So
this week.
she's at the table and she does this cry like just something terrible's happened.
And
She
she just
runs to the
gets up and like
stairs.
runs away.
Well, she runs to the stairs where she was crying about Barbara.
And she's like clutching the letter
the
to her
left,
breast and
And
everything.
Sister
It was
Julianne was
crazy.
so gentle and so kind, basically being like, "You don't have to speak to me, but I really want to know what's going on." No, she wasn't. She was just
oh
like,
no,
No,
she said,
no.
I wrote it down because I just thought it
Okay.
was so lovely. She said, like, you don't have to tell me, but simply know you are upheld. And I was like, oh,
"Aw."
Sister Julianne.
Oh, that was the
And
perfect
she
thing to
looked like
say.
she couldn't breathe, right? And then they're all there then. And then she says, "My life has changed. They've come up on the premium bonds and I've won 5,000. Now, did anyone look up how much this is worth nowadays? Because I did. Go on, how much is you?
I
Did
did.
you go on?
I
We all
looked
looked it
up.
up.
It's worth
We've got
£79,462.
Oh,
wildly different ones. I've got
I wait.
115,000.
I got 99,000 pounds.
What did you?
So
Well, I looked on the Office of National Statistics inflation calculator.
I just looked on a weird calculator online that told me it was 115,977.25. So if we say around 90,
yeah, something like that. Yeah. It
I'm
was
not
it was
saying.
a chunk of change. It was a chunk of
Yeah,
change. I mean, to me, and this is probably a problem that I have, but like $100,000 would be amazing, amazing, and like a crazy gift from the sky. I don't know that if I thought about like, is this going to make me set for life? No, that's not what I think I would be thinking about it. But it would be an amazing
Everything
just
is cheaper in those days as well, though.
yeah, but don't think like I think my parents' first house was like £2,000 or £3,000.
Yeah.
So if you think how much like that would have been enough to buy her a house
That's what I'm saying.
outright.
Everything's just more expensive now.
Yeah, so although it's £100,000 in nowadays, it's probably like to buy a house now, you'd need a good £500,000.
Well, and she talks about wanting to have enough to put by for when she's older, and she's been putting like £5, £10 in the post office and everything, which is
I just didn't really understand her. Like, a reaction wasn't like ecstatic. It was like anger a bit.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
again, I mean, I would just be happy. I'd be like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't get why she seemed like
I
she was mad
loved,
about it. Like,
yeah, I loved Miss Higgins bringing cream
hmm
sherry for shock. And I
yeah.
like the way she was like, I ought to be over the moon, Millicent. I'm just in a quandary. And I thought, yeah, you bloody should ought to be over the moon. Like, just have this is lovely. This is lovely.
Well, but let's be real though. She was only in a quandary for a couple of days because
Yeah.
immediately after, she's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I know. Think I'm good. I know what I want to do with this money. I want to go on a bus holiday and I want to put it in the bank."
I
And
like
then
the way
she
they called it
promptly
a
asks for,
6-week motor coach break.
oh my God. Well, when she says to Sister Julie, and she's like, "Well, I really want to go on this trip," and she's like, "Oh, sounds great." And then she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can you spare me for 6 weeks? I think I'm gonna be gone till November." And she's like, okay, yeah, great." And then she's like, "Great, we're going to France, we're going to this way, da, 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 and Spain and everything like that, and it's gonna be so much fun." And she's like,
Oh,
"Okay." And then she runs out, and you can just tell Sister Julian is both like really happy and excited for her, and then also just like, "Oh
oh
no, what
God.
am I gonna do about staff
Well,
for like that whole
yeah.
time?"
But let's
Like,
not forget, they've also got someone else missing, but just really quick. I
yeah.
loved the scene where Nurse Crane thanked Miss Higgins to give her the confidence to ask. I really enjoyed that, their
Yeah.
friendship.
Oh, I loved that.
yeah.
When they held
Yeah.
hands, I just thought
Yeah.
that was the best. And the other thing I love that Miss Higgins did was when Phyllis went to her apartment, she poured her a glass of sherry and she says, "Oh, I hardly ever have one sherry, but two." And she's like, "This is just cream sherry. Like it's just to take the edge off or something, like you can do it, girl," or whatever. And it was the most like cute. Oh, I just like Miss Higgins sometimes is like so intense and like I love it and I also am just like calm down. But she was a rock star this episode and their friendship just sent me to the moon.
Well,
I
also, I
loved it.
really liked her clash with Sheila this episode.
Well, should
Oh
we
my
talk
God.
about May?
Ugh, yeah,
Oh yeah.
So May, basically, she'd been on the park and
yeah.
she'd basically put her foot through some of the equipment. She had the biggest gash on her foot.
It was horrible.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
like
awful.
her
Well,
little
she'd fallen
foot
off
was
the
like
swing.
shredded. But she'd like put her foot through something and
Oh,
like I guess it had gotten like snagged on like wood and a nail or something like that. It was
yeah,
really
yeah.
gross.
A
Like,
rusty nail.
Yeah.
Dr. Turner, then the biggest gash in the world, then just said, also feet and heads bleed more than anything.
yeah, really badly. Yeah.
And Dr. Turner said it was one tiny suture. I don't believe that.
Not the wound we all saw. No, not at
Well,
all.
so Sheila's then like, this playground's an absolute eyesore. It's an absolute danger zone. So she decides to do this jamboree jumble sale, jamboree,
Yet
a
again,
big event.
Oh Lord.
she's organised a giant event that everybody else is running for her.
Yeah. And
But
then she speaks to Violet and says about Violet's like really like, oh, we can match the funds for the grant. What I did love was Sheila being like, well, actually, the council should be your responsibility anyway.
And Violet was like,
But then
I was
again,
like, oh no.
Sheila's fretting about it from the point of view that May's adopted. So obviously, like this
Child
report
services.
then goes on her
Yeah.
file. It'll go back to her mum. She's worried about how that reflects on them. Dr. Turner
Mhm.
again is like, Sheila, it
Don't
was
worry
a
about it.
minor injury.
Well, he's
It
just
was
like, don't worry about it,
not.
babes. He's like, don't worry about it, babes. It's fine. It's fine.
Anyway, and I looked up a jamboree. A jamboree, let me tell you. Oh,
Oh, while you're looking that up, can I just say one thing? So the line where Sheila is in the shop with the haberdashers with Vi, and she goes, "Yeah, like let's do this jamboree. Like people can bring things." And then, I got like thrift sale, like tag sale kind of from it. And Vi says something like, "Yeah, I don't, I feel like people have so much to give away these days." And then Sheila says, "Yeah, it used to be make, do, and mend, but now it's people like wear things twice and then get rid of it." And I just thought, oh, Sheila, if you don't think it's good now.
Yeah.
You're not
Fast,
even
wait
gonna.
for
she
it.
said fast fashion.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait until like, Shein and Temu and, like
Although, guys, on
H&M and all
Vinted,
these come in.
on Vinted this week, I brought some Doc Martin sandals. I've been wanting them for ages.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
did they
I bought
arrive?
Yeah, they arrived. They're amazing. Pink.
Do you love them?
Love them.
So
And now
was
it
it
started
from-
peeing down.
Here's the question though. If you buy them, is it like final sale?
Yeah, but
So you have to really know that they're gonna fit and feel good and all
well,
that.
I wanted to go to a shop and try them on, never did. But then my brother's girlfriend at the wedding had them on, and I asked what size she was, so I made her take them off so I could try them on, and they fit perfect. So I bought that size.
Oh, okay. So you knew.
Yeah.
Also, the beauty of that is someone's broke because Doc Martens are notoriously hard to
They've
break
only
in.
no, they've only been worn twice.
Oh, well, I was going to say someone's broken them in, but they haven't. So you
But
good
the
luck.
sandals apparently, because I asked her about this because she's got loads of pairs. Apparently the sandals doesn't matter; they're fine straight away.
Well, anyway, a jamboree is a large celebration or party, typically a lavish or boisterous one, or a large rally of scouts or guides. Neither of those apply to a jumble sale.
No.
Again, I think this is a thing where they're naming it something to sound like fun, like because it's called like a jumble jamboree or something, I think. And I think they're just using the term jamboree to make
Alliteration.
basically like a thrift sale sound like it's a really exciting thing that you want to go to and spend your money at.
So
So
so Sheila had arranged for the doctors to be like a dumping ground for this stuff, and then they were going to drop it at Nanasa's house. Now,
Nanasa's house to be sorted.
Sister
Look,
Julianne looking dead upset about all the tat just reminds me of my husband going around our house living with me and Bob's, being like, "For God's sake, what tat have you brought in now?" Like, absolute lols.
Yeah, it was just
Also, I really
boxes
like
and
the scene where
boxes.
she was upset. She was like, "There's some unsavory items in here," and it was Sister Francis and Nancy's stuff for the talks
Nancy's.
for the kids.
Oh yeah, and she's like, it looks like there's menstrual products. Like, I don't know who would have donated that. And they're like, oh, that's for our class anyway.
I mean,
Like,
people probably would, Jen, use, let's be honest.
oh
But
wait, but what did Nancy say that was like really oh
She
she
said
said some-
things have moved on since your time, Sister Julianne,
and
something
she
like
just
that.
says it with like this smile on her face, like ha 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 ha, and I just was like, oh my God, Nancy, you are so tactless. Like you have no freaking clue.
I loved it though.
The kids are trying to collect stuff for the jumble sale, and then they're taking it into the newsagents because Fred's given them
Candies.
candies
Yeah,
for
sweets and chocolate bar if they're a good stuff. But also, can I just say really quick, Dr. Turner insisted on Sheila taking a break, even though what was she doing?
What? I don't
Well,
know.
what was she doing? She was making Timothy gather it all and move it. Do you know what I mean? Like that just annoyed me. And then obviously we found out it was because she was worried about children's services. But still, at the same time, I just thought, what are you actually doing with the sort of jumble sale? You're not actually, you just arranged for it to be there.
But
Unless
again,
Higgins in
Dr.
charge.
Turner didn't take anything off her plate. He just told us to have a 5 minute sit down and a cup of tea before you
Yeah.
carry on with all your duties.
Oh,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
loves that she gets everything done. He's so into it.
Anyway,
Those
so
two.
yes, sorry, Bex. So yeah, Fred gets some boys to all these kids and he's paying them with sweets and stuff to try and get some more business for it.
And
what
they
did
collect
find?
a skittle.
Yeah.
What is the Skittle actually? We know what it turned out to be in the show, but what is it supposed to be that they
Yeah,
were
we've been
doing there?
bowling.
Oh, it's the pins?
The pin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, how did they? Oh my God, boys, that doesn't look anything like a bowling pin. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, they find these World War II unexploded like mini bombs.
Well, there's
Incendiary
one at the
bomb.
same time in Nonata's house, and then Fred has two in the newsagent.
Yeah, but I thought the one in Anata's house was how the boys only found one and he gave them a gumball.
Yes,
And then
yeah.
he says, if you bring more, I'll give you a piece of chocolate.
Yeah.
So Sister
So
Julian is sorting through and she picks one up accidentally and then she's like, oh my God, and she calls
then
for
Fred
help and everyone.
kicks into his CDC action, but without his uniform. But Violet brings that out for him. It's like, what about my trousers? She was like, get changed in the shed. So, but what was really good was they were trying to get everyone away, and it did make me absolutely lol because Fred was getting really exasperated because everyone was going really slow and stuff. And Mojo was like, may I remind you, we've endured a war and survived. And then they're like, where's Nurse Crane? And she's like, I've got the Rolodex. And then Matthew's there, and he's like, why are you in? Get out! Like.
I
Well,
liked
he
it
ran
when
up to Trixie and that was
Matthew's
ridiculous.
worried about Trixie. Fred yells at Matthew, this isn't here to ruddy eternity.
Although I'll tell you what, Matthew running up that thing, like yelling Trixie's name, I was like, oh, that is a romantic move there. Like, he's obviously very invested in this lady.
There was a controlled explosion, right, for the first one, the Nonata's house one, but then there was obviously two in the newsagents. But in that time, Fred had bloody got into the newsagents and got cake for everyone. Violet was like, why are you getting cake?
Well, but it was amazing because earlier she'd said like, oh, I bought all these Battenbergs, but no one likes them. He's like, well, people feel funny about marzipan. And then he brought them out and he was like, he's like, cake, anyone? Cake. And it was like, he's just ever the salesman, like trying to find a way to move product. So
absolutely loved it. Right, should we talk about Trixie and Matthew?
Whoa,
Trixie.
I'm not being funny, guys. Passion.
Okay, now what do we think they were really doing? Do we think they fully like had sex, got dressed, laid on top of the covers?
But Matthew at one point was in a silk robe.
Yeah, the one where they were on top of the covers, Jen, is after she'd stayed over another day.
Oh, but see, I didn't see anything before that, like with them. So what happened before?
I was going to do a horrible joke.
I've got a note next to Trixie's name just saying dirty stop out.
Yeah, she stayed over.
okay, she stayed over, but we didn't see them do anything, or we
No.
didn't see them intimate.
But they
But
we
I'm
saw
not.
them. We saw him. We saw her
We
knock
saw
on the
them
door.
slow
Well,
dancing.
they were slow dancing in his apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also we saw him snog, and we saw him open the door to her, and then be all like, "Oh, couldn't keep their hands off each other."
Oh, see, I didn't get it. I didn't get any of the kissing or
She was
anything like
wearing a
that.
really weird like cape thing. And also we saw about that scene where she was opening up about her past, and they said they loved each other in that as well.
So that's
Well,
the
no, no,
second
no.
night. That's
Yeah,
the second night that she's there.
when she
The
was fully
weird.
clothed.
No, I need to talk about this. The weirdest scene. They're both lying on top of the bed,
Yeah, the
Yep.
second night,
far
Jen.
away from each other as they can be.
And she's got a pillow on top of her.
She has got a round silk pillow covering a baby bump. Matthew is in a smoking jacket type situation.
They're like
Like,
fully
why
clothed on
he's
top of the
hugging
bed.
himself?
It was really crazy.
The body language was very strange.
Also, I'm sorry, they're both so hot, but like that is the most awkward angle for people to look good. Like when he was like the way that they shot
Whatever
his
angle they're
view.
shot at, they look better than me.
Oh, they look better than 99% of people on Earth. Like
Yeah.
they're both so good looking. But the thing that was crazy was like they're having this really intense conversation. They're having this really beautiful moment of like this like really big love moment for the two of them. And Matthew and she's like revealing these things about her past and like her painful childhood and everything. And he's like really he's so connected to her. He's like really looking at her like in the eyes and like he's really like there for her and everything. And then he says like, I won't ask you how, or he says they talk about love and how she says I don't know if I loved you at the beginning when I first met you, but I had love for you or something like that or whatever. And then he says, I don't want to ask you if you feel this way now because I don't want you to feel that you have to say it, but I am going to tell you how I feel because I want you to know it. And he says, I love you. But when he says it, he's literally laying on his back on the bed and he's turned his head and the pillow is like puffing around cheek and he's saying it and it's so sincere and I really did love the scene, but it was also to me like such an awkward way to like do that. And she was like, oh, and like I don't know, it did take it down a notch for me. I didn't like that, and I wish I had seen the earlier part because then it would have given it context. Like they cut out all that preamble.
The first scene was passion, Jen.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, those two make out the most of anybody in this whole show.
Yeah,
like,
but it really they conveyed it without being like full on. Because obviously, I still think there's bits of like COVID stuff going on. Because also, we got a message from someone who I'll credit it after.
I think that's
someone
why,
said there was a screen between them.
That's why it was
kiss.
a weird scene because obviously they had to be a certain distance, but it was just so weird.
Yeah, but again, COVID. Then Trixie gets a letter. So basically, I think what they're trying to intimate here is that Trixie and Matthew are getting really serious. They've said they love each other. There's passion there.
Well,
it's all going great guns.
Sleeping together is a big stage for them. I mean, like Trixie hasn't always been interested in doing that with her boyfriends, but I mean, clearly she feels like Matthew is special, so.
So yeah, Trixie gets a letter and it's about a godmother. And we hear a lot about a godmother in Portofino. Basically saying that she's seriously ill. And then I was like, this is her exit storyline sorted for
I was like, they're setting her up for maternity.
I thought she was going to finish the season, but this made a lot more sense, honestly.
Yeah, and so she's got no support, a stepmom. Sorry, not a stepmom, a godmother. And so she wants to go and help her. And do you know what really annoyed me, right? It was an emotional goodbye between her and Matthew. But him being like, how long are you going to be gone for? Well, I don't know how long it takes for someone to die, my godmother, who I love loads. So that's a bit annoying and pressured. Like, I don't know how long, mate. Like, I can't promise you like 2 weeks. And then
I didn't think that was. Wow, you're really hard on the men this week. I didn't think he was being mean at all.
Oh, I think you're being too nice. Up with the women, down with the men.
No, I just thought he was like, I think he was just finding out that she was going, and he's like, well,
I think he was thinking about himself, Jen.
No, I think he was just genuinely asking, like, what is this trip about? Are you going to stay with her through the end? Or are you just going to...
You're not going to be like, how long are you going to go on for? Like, if you told me, honestly, I'm going here to look after my sick aunt, I'd be like, how long are you going for? I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, that's awful. Like, I hope it all goes okay.
To her.
I'll be here when you come back.
He said, I will come there and be with you. Like, he was being kind. He was being loving. It wasn't like, you're going.
Did he just want more action, Jen?
No. That you guys are reading it so crazy. Like he was saying to her, like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, what can I do for you? Like, I really love you. Like, I care about you. Like, are you, I mean, he didn't say all of those things, but his care and attention was there. It wasn't like, oh, you better come back quick because, I really can't be without you. It was like, how long are you going to be gone? Like, what's the situation? What are you doing? I mean, the idea that, like, what if she was
a dying person?
people can die for a long time, you guys. Like, there's a difference between
Exactly. So
like, I'm gonna go.
why ask how long it can take?
Because she's got a life here. Like, are you going to be gone for, like a little bit of time? Or are you going to see her through the bitter end? Like, could it be like 6 months before I see you again? Like, do you want me to come out there and be with you? Like, I could arrange to do that. That's what he literally said. Like, I think y'all are just being way too intense about this.
Sometimes in my life, right, I go to places or do something, right? And Becky and my husband will ask questions that are just the most unreasonable questions that anyone would ever ask ever. Like, I can't even think of an example, but they're like, I went somewhere and I was, oh my God, did you ask it? And I'm like, no, I did not ask that. And that is what
I ask, like, she tells me about people. Like, she'll be telling me about someone's job, and I'll be like, how much does he earn?
Yeah. And I'd be like, I didn't ask them that. And my husband's exactly the same. He asked the same questions. And I'm like, I didn't ask that. And then they're like, oh. And I'm like, who would ask that? And that's what I feel a bit like this question was. Maybe my point being, Jen, there's a history of me getting annoyed at people asking questions.
So you're projecting your experience
yeah, I am.
onto
I'm absolutely
this.
projecting. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. That's what's happening.
But two people who I'm close with in life ask those questions.
I'll tell you what though, when he was looking at her like across the, I don't know why I mean, poor thing, she had to sit in Violet's shop like in front of the desk and she was like waist high. But like when he was looking at her and talking to her, I mean, she was doing great. She was giving him back the same energy, but he is so into her. Like, I mean, oh
Jen, you didn't see the passion. I spoke about sexual napalm, John Mayer. That was that scene when when he opened the door to her and they were like, zoom, like magnets. as they should be, because they're both gorgeous. And that's what it's like when you first get together. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
anyone
good for
got
them.
anything else to say?
I need to shout out the hominy pie that Sister Hilda made.
What's that?
I love hominy pie.
What is hominy pie?
It's basically a potato cheesy creamy pie.
But it's open, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like a quiche, but potatoey and not eggy.
Crust with potato, cream, onion, cheese.
I'd totally eat that.
It's like double carbs.
Does it have egg in?
No.
Oh, I'd have that. You can make it for me.
I will make it for you. I'll make it for you when you come over, Jen. We'll have hominy pie and salad.
Oh, I would love that. Yes, that would be very, very nice.
Yeah. It does look absolutely delicious.
Okay.
I will say right near you, Bex.
Yeah.
And then now we're down two of our fave nurses. Trixie and Phyllis are both gone.
Yeah.
So like when are they going to come back? I think Phyllis is going to come back either in the next episode or the episode after, but I think Trixie's obviously going to be on the rest of the season. I don't think we're going to see her until Christmas special again.
Yeah, with a new haircut.
Yeah.
I do love a new series with a new Trixie haircut.
Yeah. She's got a strong fringe game at the moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And very heavy eyeliner. She looks really good. Yeah.
One thing I regret about when I recorded my BBC thing is I tried to get in to have my hair trimmed, but I wasn't in a state to do it. So I didn't get a chance to get my fringe trimmed to be more of a strong fringe. I've got a strong fringe at the moment. And well, actually I've just said that and it looks rubbish, but you know what I mean? I'm annoyed at my fringe game for that interview.
Don't be. Fringes are tricky.
Well, nah.
We can't all have great hair all the time.
I mean,
we're not like celebrities with like stylists and all that kind of stuff. So
I mean, I look like that, but
oh, this was a good one, you guys. I'm really loving this episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of Nanatan storyline I felt with this one.
Yeah, I just thought it was really sad storylines. And as I said before, I just think they were really well acted. That actress was outstanding who played Glenda. She was bloody bone-chillingly terrifying.
She was a psycho, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Should we do heroes and zeros?
Yeah.
My hero is going to be the school teacher.
Nice.
Oh, good one.
Because he was looking out for the girls.
Yeah.
And in doing so, he helped the Packers because Deborah had an avenue to speak up.
Yeah.
So he's my hero for being a conscientious, what's the word?
Safeguarder?
Yeah, but just being observant. Observant's not the word.
Caring?
Something. Anyway, him. And then my zero. I mean, the obvious zero is Glenda.
Yeah. Go with that one. Somebody had to say it.
Yeah, Glenda. I'll go with Glenda I'll go with Glenda.
Now, my zero is controversial.
Oh, God. Oh, it's going to be Cyril.
It's not. It's not Cyril. And it's not Matthew, even though he did annoy me. He didn't annoy me that much. It was just that question. My zero, are you ready for this, guys? Are you ready for this, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's Fred. Do you want me to tell you why?
Fred? Yes. Why Fred?
Because he did my head in. I love him. but this really annoyed me. Cyril, obviously very worried about this letter, comes into the newsagents and says, I'm looking for this letter. Have you seen this letter? Fred's like, no, been no letter here, mate. No letter at all. Look, checked it, nothing. No letter here. None for you. No important letters from the council that there's a job interview you're waiting for or a job. Nothing here. And then a few days later, Fred's like, oh yeah, found the letter, but it was under the Morning Star. What? That really annoyed me. And also that whole thing with Lucille, the whole argument wouldn't have happened if he'd just found that letter. And it just really annoyed me. And I was on a bit of a thing, 0 against men anyway that day. So Fred's having it. I love him. That was the only thing he did wrong, but it had a knock-on effect. So
See, that's interesting context, because that was another scene that I didn't get, was the pre-game to that, because
I was really nervous waiting for it.
Well, I know that part, but yeah, like, because in the scene, in the way I saw it, Cyril walks in there and Fred is just like, oh, like, I found this, it was under the newspaper, and he's just like, and Cyril's like, oh, thank you, and he's like, yeah, just, oh, oopsie daisy,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Been in like 2 days previous.
Yeah, see, I didn't see Cyril ask him about it at all, so it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal. He was just like, not many communists these days, and I was like,
so probably the first time and probably the last time. Fred is my 0 there.
Yeah.
My hero is going to be a double one. I'm going to do Sister Frances and Nancy. I thought they were a bloody brilliant team. I loved them together. Lovely. I thought they were fantastic with the girls. I loved that. I loved how one of the little girls was called Carol. It just made me laugh. And just absolutely loved it. I thought they were a brilliant team. I thought they handled it fantastically. They thought about everything. It was really sensitively handled. They were absolutely great. I loved their friendship as well. And it just, I loved it when they were laughing about being plainclothes and stuff. I just really loved it. And they had fun, but were great.
Yes. 0 for me this week. I'm gonna go with, I love her, but the lady who was married for the second time, what's her name again? Pamela. Her impacted bowel. I'm sorry.
It was rectum.
Impacted rectum. I mean,
none of us can help it when that happens.
I know, but I was like,
speak for yourself.
The human body is just so weird and gross at times, and like, I love their story. I thought they were very cute, but I just wasn't, you know.
Childbirth isn't clean and tidy.
No, Jen. Childbirth is horrifying, honestly, in a lot of ways.
In every I don't know what way it's not.
I mean, I like the end when they gave you the baby, and you know, you see the moms, and they're like, "Oh, my baby!" Like, I like those.
You say that, but it's still horrifying.
Oh, I mean, the lead up is terrible, but yeah. And then my hero is gonna be.
I'm going to go with like a troll. Sorry, carry on.
I'm going to go with
I
Phyllis.
remember when Bobs was born, and you were just like, she's ginger. Like, you were so confused by it.
I was just dead shocked. I just wasn't expecting it.
Sorry, Jen. Sorry.
No, do you guys want to keep talking about other stuff?
Yeah, we'll carry on while you're doing yours.
Phyllis and Miss Higgins' friendship. Yes. It was very sweet, and I really liked how they supported each other. Mainly how Miss Higgins supported Phyllis. I thought that was very beautiful. Like when they held hands and
do you know what? Phyllis should have been my 0.
What?
Phyllis was she 0?
For not making everything about her. For overreacting to everything.
Oh my God, Bex.
I mean, can I just say, Bex, pot kettle, like. I mean, I will say you don't make everything about you, but you are not an underreactor.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not cool and calm and collected.
No, sometimes I send Alex those unhinged messages.
Exactly. That's you holding a kidney dish in the other room. Anyway, so next week we are watching series 11, episode 6. Yeah, so watch along, listen with us. That will be fantastic. We're also doing a bit of a record on a different night. See if you can guess the difference next week. That'll be quite exciting. I'm actually really excited about that, girls.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
It'll be like a new I think maybe we'll have more energy. I don't know. What do you think?
We're doing it later at night.
Yeah, but it's on a Friday, so we'll be more like you're kind of still adrenalized, aren't you, from the week?
You're buzzed from the week on a Friday. We're currently recording on a Sunday, everyone.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Anyway, right. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.